All right, guys, welcome to episode number 2 of Puro Cotorreo with your host, Steve Striver. And, okay, so I have someone here who's a very kind person who leads with action, not words, a devoted family man, a relentless entrepreneur, and the quiet force behind two growing businesses, one that's building homes and another one that's building confidence alongside his wife. He's the friend you call when you need advice, support, or just someone who genuinely shows up. Humble, grounded, and always ready to help, not because he has to, but because that's just who he is. The man I'm talking about, none other than my good friend, Edwin Santos. Welcome.
Thank you for having me here. It's a pleasure to be here at Puro Cotorreo. So make sure if y'all looking, seeing this video, make sure you follow, okay? You gotta follow this.
Hey,
It'll be good.
You went straight to the promo.
I went straight to the promo.
Luego. Si quiere pongas el mic tantito más cerquita así para que no, ándale, para que no haya fallas.
Para que no digan que no me vieron.
Sí, y luego, ¿qué le pareció la warehouse? I give you a tour right now.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. It's pretty nice. You're doing pretty good.
Nice. ¿Qué anda muy ocupado ahorita con Belle Couture, todo?
Sí, ahorita gracias a Dios sí andamos bien ocupados. Our TikTok has been blowing up, so it's been crazy.
Ahorita tiene el expo coming up, a small little expo, mini expo coming up.
Yeah, we call it summer vibes. It's more like open house type.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, but I mean that's warming up people for the
Right.
big expo, porque obviously you have Miss Fabulous expo.
Yeah, so what we're trying to do is get, give some shine to the vendors that have been there with us, and then, get people to get to know them a little bit more. Because sometimes at the expo, everybody's running around, and sometimes you can't talk to them because there's a bunch of people there. So we're trying to get them, give them some, more shine, because normally all the expos, they don't worry about you as a vendor.
Yeah, you want to give them exposure, especially if they're coming up or they're new.
Yeah.
Sometimes they need to be around others that already know the game.
Yes. So that's what we're trying to do, give them some exposure.
Y just to give everyone context, we're talking about the event industry. You've been in the event industry for some time now, right? Pero
Yes.
that's not where the story started, right? First of all, you're from El Salvador.
Yes, sir.
100% Salvadorian?
100%.
100% Salvadorian. I've never been this close to 100% Salvador. No, but it's really, really cool. I have a few Salvadorian friends. Pero how does the story start? Because not only do you do Belle Couture, you have Santos General Contracting too,
Yes.
right? That's your main.
That's my main.
That's your main. And then Belle Couture started a few years ago.
A few years ago, yes.
And then before that, that's where like I'm blank. Like that, I don't know Don Edwin Santos. Maybe he could have been a mafia boss over here in New York, like lo que sea. Pero how did the story start? Where does Edwin Santos find out? Like, okay, what's the origin story? What are some traumas or what are some things that built your character?
Well, I mean, I always have heard people say, hey, you know what? If life gives you lemon, make a lemonade, or, you just got to keep on pushing and this and this and that. But I've never been in a situation where I have to kind of like, do it. So a quick rundown, my father passed away on his birthday. On his birthday, he passed away. 9 months after that, my eldest son passed away. So I was like, man, I was feeling down, Besides business was doing good. So, I was kind of like, man, what else?
Mm-hmm.
All of a sudden, 7 months after my son passed away, I got diagnosed with cancer. And I was like, what
Wow.
the...
That's crazy.
So, for me, it was like, man, hit after hit after hit. And I was like, man, what else, But I always think what I tell people because, I can't be telling people, hey, you know what? Everything's going to be okay or just fight, keep on doing, everything's going to get better. And when it happens to me, for me not to kind of like just put my hands down. For me, it's like, no, I can't do that. So, I've been pushing.
Oh, so you're saying your childhood was it pretty normal?
Yeah,
Like
pretty
you
normal.
grew up in Salvador, or you
No, I came to the United States when I was 9 years old.
when you were 9 years old? Like your parents just said, "Hey, Edwin, ¿quieres ir al gabacho? Vamos a empezar una
Uh,
nueva vida ya."
so my mom was here already, right? And then the Civil War started in Salvador, where they were taking, kids and all that stuff.
Civil War.
Yeah. So, Salvador been through a lot of things, so the Civil War started over there, and then young people started disappearing because either the guerrillas would take them or the military. And then my mom said, nah, we're not doing that. Since I was the eldest, she went back, to El Salvador, brought us. Mine is a woman that brought four of us, four of my siblings, me, my sister, my brother, and my younger sister. And then she decided to bring another cousin of ours who was a teenager.
Mm-hmm.
So she's like coming from Salvador to the U.S. with five, kids per se. So I was, and people when they hear the story, they're like, "Man, you're,
But you were flying, or you were going through land?
oh brother, come on." You know how they used to do it back in the day. You get hit in the engine, and you get hit in there. Yeah.
Okay.
But
Okay.
it was crazy, man. It was crazy.
Wow.
My mom. I'm like, to this day when I tell that story, I'm like, man, my mom must have been crazy doing all that.
Oh, well, tenía los pantalones bien
Yeah,
puestos. And
yeah.
back then, my parents went through something similar, pero just people back then had colmillo, like
Yeah.
they were made of iron, or like maybe they were just not scared. What do you think your mom was thinking? Was it survival
Survival.
that
That's the
pushed
exact
people?
word that I was thinking. Survival. And I think that's what's missing nowadays. People don't have survival skills. So I see it every day. I talk to a lot of young people, and I'm like,
Mhm.
it's crazy. But yeah, I think it's all about survival. And, everybody that's been here, I guess, in the States is you're looking for something better, So all of our parents, shout out to all of our parents who made that sacrifice to bring us here, and then here we made a life for ourselves and for our kids and the grandkids and so on and so on. So
What do you think
know.
is different now? Because survival back then was okay. Obviously, you have no social media. We all know how things were back then. Obviously, you're from a way different generation than I am. So it was.
poco.
Mira, ya ve mis canas, acá están ya apareciendo, ya somos de la misma edad, ya básicamente.
¿Cuántos años tienes, Steve?
29.
Yo tengo 25.
No wonder. You're just better than me. I dress like an old man. Pero going back to like the survival skills of people nowadays, and back then, what do you think has changed? Aparte de society, new technologies, this and that, like what do you think is missing, and what do you think people can do to have that drive? Because a lot of people, they want to nag, they want to say like es que no puedo, or they want to put excuses.
Yeah. The thing is, and I have talked to a lot of people, sometimes we sit down, we talk about it. And honestly, me personally, what I think is that us as parents, we give our kids everything. So our kids feel like they're entitled to have this, to have that, they want this, they want that. And us as parents, we feel like, okay, well, I never had that, so let me give it to my kid, because I did that. I did that for a while. Man, I remember when my youngest kid, was growing up, we went and bought him some Gucci shoes, and he only wore them one time. So I was like, oh, that was a waste of money, and I was like, I'm not doing that again. So, and he didn't ask for them.
Uh-huh.
I just felt like I had to give it to them. So I think that's what's going on with the generation now. Us as parents, we want to give our kids things that we never had, because I remember the first time that I bought my first pair of tennis shoes, my first Nike, I had to work for it, because my parents, they would give me some boo tennis. So, I wanted some Nikes, and I remember I bought them, and man, I wouldn't let nobody get too close to my shoes. because I didn't want them to get them dirty, you know. And then so everything that I had worked for. When I got my first car, I worked for. My dad did help me, you know, get it, but you know I had to pay him back. But you know I worked for everything that I had, and now our kids, you know, like my children, you know, I give them cars. Oh, take this car. I have a car that is just parked there, you know. So if Lucas decide he want to start driving, you know, he already has a car, you know. But back then, it was a different story. Everybody had to work for, you know, for what we have.
Wow. So how many kids do you have right now? Like obviously with the oldest that
Yes.
have passed away.
So it's three. So my eldest, you know, I got married to a Mexican
Oh wow.
woman. So, you know, that's why that Mexican, you know, a lot of people, when I tell them I'm from Salvador, they don't believe me. I tell them from Matamoros, they're like, oh, yeah. Because they, you know, I have that accent, you know. So I had my eldest with her, and we just had one. And then I met Marilu, and then she already had her son, which, you know, he was 4 years old when I had him, when she, you know, we got together. So he's been with me all this time. So, you know, it's like, you don't know no father but me. And then my youngest, Lucas, you know, we had him, but, you know, we went through a situation. And I was like, no more babies for us.
Oh.
You know, so, man, it was crazy, you know. And I'm always feel like I want to have control of situations because I know how I'm going to maneuver it. And I didn't like that because when, you know, Marilu went for a checkup, they took her to emergencies. And then I didn't know what was going on 5 hours. I was like pacing. I didn't know where she was. I didn't know what was going on or anything. So all that, I was like, no, we're not doing that again. So.
But what do you think went wrong? Well, like, ya estaban grandes? Like, what was?
No, he was 8 months when that happened. And because she had thyroid, she developed thyroid. And so it was, they had to get him out. So, you know, it was crazy. And then we spent like a whole month at the ice, you know, where they keep all the babies, IQ or something like that. I forgot what's it called. Niku, I think, something like that. But man, thank God my Lucas was okay. They never had any issues. His only issue was that he was not eating. But you know, man, you see a lot of things there that is crazy. That bunch of babies, alarms going all over the place. It got to the point that one time we went to, you know, because we would go every day. And one time we were heading to the hospital, and then alarms started going on. I just told my wife, no, not today. I got to go back home because, you know, it was taking this toll on me. So, you know, it's crazy because we were there, and then all of a sudden the alarms started going on next to Lucas, and then doctors start running and looking, and then paperwork. And then they were looking, oh, the parents have not signed the form, so we can't do anything. We have to do an emergency, something with his heart. And they were like, call the parents. And all that got, you know, we got kind of like, but it's not easy. I don't wish that on anybody because, you know, your kids are I guess it's your prize, or they're your special thing that you have, you know. So that's why I think a lot of parents, we do now is we give them everything that we never had because, you know, we all have gone through those situations, you know. So it's very difficult.
Yeah, and especially after going through all that, you know, just by trying to imagine what you're going through there, you're like, well, let me, you know, give him everything because, you know, we went through so much. He could have not made it, this and that. Like, now you want to appreciate life even more. And you had, obviously you told us earlier that you were diagnosed or with something else después. So things have been accumulating little by little, and like, obviously that's making you appreciate life even more. Like, but obviously you didn't not appreciate life back then. But what do you see different now?
Well,
con todo esto pasando.
Yeah, so before I was more focused on tomorrow. Oh, don't worry about it. We'll do it tomorrow. You know, don't worry about it tomorrow. You think you have tomorrow. Then after all that, you know, you understand you don't have tomorrow because we were doing good with my business. My son, he will help me, lead another crew. Like he would go to Austin, take care of that, and then I would be either San Antonio, Dallas, or whatever. But we were always running around all over Texas. So for me, taking vacations anywhere we wanted was not an issue. Finding the right time was the issue. Finding the perfect time to get together and for all of us take vacation at the same time, that was the issue. So, and then he passed away, and I was like, so I have that I never took that, stop, to kind of say smell the roses. Mm-hmm. So, now my take on life is like, man, you gotta, slow down and you gotta do what you can today because today is the present, tomorrow is never promised. So, whatever you can do today, that's what you gotta do.
Damn. And I mean, can I ask like what, how your oldest son, passed away, was an accident or?
Yeah, he passed away and he went somewhere by San Antonio. There's some lake over there with some friends, and he had 4 dogs. 2 of them passed away with him, and so I think when he went through the curve, I think the dogs kind of like because he was in a small car, and I think maybe one of the dogs got away, but he lost control and when it hit on a tree. So, it was
wow.
Yeah, it was something.
So it was a vehicle accident.
Yeah, vehicle accident.
Golly. I mean, life is not promised forever, Eso sí lo que yo también, I really haven't had too much loss in my life, pero, after my grandma, I can feel how that would affect someone, pero, so he was a great part of the company también,
Yeah, so in my business, that's where, when he's lost, that's why I felt it more because, sometimes we would drive together, through the roads and stuff. So, every time I would drive, I would, remember that. And
eran amigos, aparte de padre e hijo.
Yeah. So all that was like very emotional. I would get to the properties and then, the manager and all that stuff, they would be crying. So I'm like, man, I'm trying to heal. And then, I have to kind of like, and you're bringing it on, and, so. And then because my son was, I think he was just like me. He was a jokester. He play around with everybody, and like the majority of his friends that are like, man, he's the type of guy that if he needed your shirt, he would take it and give it to you. So and I'm like, yeah, that's because that's how I've been. So now that he's gone, I kind of see, and then when his friends, because all his friends sometimes they send me messages. And, it kind of feels good in a sense because, a lot of his friends check up on me. Hey, how you doing? How you been? Just checking up on you. And I'm like, you don't have to check up on me. You know what I mean? But they do it because, they were good friends to my son and my son was a good friends to them. So sometimes I guess things you do, there's always you always get it back. Just like, when I say, like if you loan somebody money, right? You might loan him money, but he never might pay you back. But you're going to get it back from somebody else, because the money always going to come back to you. But you're so focused that he got to pay you that you're not focusing, where's it coming from? Mm-hmm. So, sometimes we just got to, I don't know, just go.
Exactly. And I'm sorry to start, have asked something that,
No,
that's kind of sad and we're starting the podcast, but obviously like you've overcome, and you found closure and there's, the people around you have helped you. And I'm glad for that, porque a veces, sometimes we just can't find closure, at least he did, he lived a great life.
Yes, he did.
So that's all that matters. And now, it's time to, take care of your own life, Marilu and Lucas and everyone else. And like, your plate is like full. Like you have so many things. Are you still like 100% doing the contracting stuff?
Well, the contracting took a backseat because since I got diagnosed with cancer, and then a lot of these properties they always want to see your face. And then since my son was not there anymore, so I put a pause on it, and Belle Couture has started.
How did that start? Let's dive
Well,
in on that.
me and Marilu were like, okay, what are we gonna do next? I'm like, I don't know, let's do something else. So it was just supposed to be a little kind of like side gig. So she's like, oh, let's buy 2 dresses.
To
I'm
gi-
like, that's fine.
to give a little context, like, so you guys had Marilu. Obviously, hopefully, I can have her here one day. Pero she, how long? Y'all felt pretty fulfilled because yeah, you were doing the contracting for a long time, and Marilu had been doing makeup for a long time, makeup and hair, right?
Yeah.
So y'all were just talking to with each other one day, and like, y'all were talking about how things were going
Yeah.
and how boring it was getting already because y'all were doing the same thing, or like, I just wanted something to spice things up, or y'all just wanted to start something new por
Well,
desidia.
we didn't want to. The way we saw it was like we didn't want to keep the money just in the bank.
Oh, okay.
So we're like, let's invest in something. She's like, well, let's invest in selling dresses. So we're like, okay. So, I'm pretty much like a numbers guy, because that's what I do in construction. Okay, this project is going to take this amount of money, da 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 da. And then so I told her, give me, setup of what we're going to waste. And she's like, oh, yeah, we're just buying 2 dresses. And so we started looking for, somebody to do them. And we kept on calling. And people were like, no, I work with such and such. I can't do it. I work with such, so everybody was like, everybody that we found was attached to somebody. And then we found somebody else in Querétaro. And he's like, yeah, I got you. I can do it. So we're like, oh, okay. So,
Y'all had to travel to Mexico, or yeah, just made phone
no,
calls.
we just made phone calls. And then, so I found them through online. Marilu found them online. And I told her, hey, I found somebody. And she's like, I found somebody too. And then it was the same guy. So, we knew it was meant to be.
Yeah.
So, we called him up and he's like, yeah. So that's how we started doing. But
So what? I mean, I don't want to be too deep. I don't want you to like expose too many of your numbers, but like for someone that like that's starting something similar, let's say, you're a numbers guy. You're obviously gonna be able to give me an answer right now. Pero what's if someone has a passion for something and they don't make that much money, they have a 9 to 5, let's say, but they really want to go into it. What's the smart way to go about? Because sometimes like you were fulfilled, you had money in the bank and everything, pero mucha gente, like, I mean, I started with $7,000 y ahorita pues ya es otro pedo, ya estamos trabajando con números más grandes y todo eso.
Sí.
Ya todo, la bank account never has money because I'm investing everything. Pero ahorita ya es diferente. Pero back then everything was cheaper too.
Yeah.
When I started in 2019, what would you tell people these days to like look out for? Like, is it smart to go in with just 5,000, 4,000, 1,000, start super small, start super cheap, start with the lowest quality, and or don't go over budget, get in debt, and things like that? Or like, what's something that you would tell someone that's starting any type of business? Porque obviously it's puro cotorreo y todo, but we also want to like help out people out there that they see us with Tezeti photo booth rentals and they see you with Belle Couture blow up and things like that. But sometimes some people just don't know how to start. Like, what's something that they should look out for when it comes to budgeting themselves at the beginning of a business venture? Porque I know it must have been difficult, even though you had all the numbers and this and that.
Like, in our case, it was kind of like, easy to start, because we kind of like, my wife been in the industry doing hair and makeup for years, so she knew people. But for me, it was something totally different, And for me, it was more like since I was going through the cancer situation, for me it was more like kind of like get that out of my mind and focus on something. So that's what it was for me. So that was my treatment, you know. But I think if I would give somebody an advice on starting a business, is you got to do your research, because you know we just jumped in it and we didn't know how many companies there are, and and everybody's doing good. I see a lot of vendors that they're doing the same thing we are, that they're there. Obviously the game has changed, so they changing as well. You have to, but do your research, see how much competition you have, because you're not going to start a paleteria and then you have ice cream next door and you have another one in front of you. It doesn't matter if you have the money or not. It don't make sense. So you have to do your research, see where you at, where you stand, where's everybody at, and do your numbers. And, the numbers never gonna lie. So that's what I always tell people. Check your competition. Obviously, you always can do things better, but check, because you can do things better, but you might not get a lot in return, because let's say you started your business and your door, everybody's has a line coming in. The next person that can come in, they're like, I'm not gonna wait for that line. I'm just gonna go there next door, and then next door gets you bringing next client to the next. And so you have to kind of like, think about it.
Exactly. And with social media, it feels like you have your store next to someone else all the time, right?
Yes.
That's how that's crazy, right?
Yeah, but it's good though, because I think it keeps everybody in their toes. Like we do a lot of things that are like crazy, and we love it, because like I did tell Marilu when we started this, I say I don't need another job. I already have my job. You have your job. I said, this needs to be something that is fun, right? So she said, yeah, it could be fun. But, when we started, she'd say, oh, yeah, 2 dresses. I was like, okay, here you go. And then later on, they're like, oh, I think we need 2 models. I'm like, for what? So they can model. I'm like, okay. Oh, we need to buy some coronas. I'm like, okay, now it's like adding to more and more.
Hey, the budget's right here.
Yeah. So then she was like, oh, hay que comprar una cámara. Oh, hay que pagarle un fotógrafo, videographer. And then I was like, man, it's going overboard. But, I always love doing stuff, I've been a musician all my life. So, I'm kind of like, love doing things like that. So.
Oh, I didn't know you. I mean, obviously I knew you told me like not too long ago, maybe a few months ago, that you were a musician. Pero, what instruments, what band, like, ¿dónde tocó, what concerts, how many people, no stadiums, okay?
No, we did play at one stadium, man, and I remember that day real well, because, I'm always kind of like cool about things and, excited about, oh yeah, we're gonna play here. But all of a sudden I saw a stadium and I saw too many people. So, I started freaking out. And I'm like, oh my God. And I couldn't. So, I kind of told myself, hey, I need to breathe. So I went backstage and I was just breathing. I did breathing exercise and I calmed down. Then, went to play and then I enjoyed it. But yeah, sometimes when you haven't done certain things, you.
What instrument? ¿Qué tocaba? And with what band?
So when I started playing guitar, right? And so we started with some friends, and our singer, he couldn't sing and play.
Oh.
Because, he would be playing, but he would take his mouth of the mic, to play.
Okay.
So then we're like, no, that's not working.
Yeah.
So then they were like, well, we already have some experience, and we can't bring nobody else in because it's going to take a while for them to learn. So then they threw me, because I was the fast learner. So they threw me.
How did they find you?
Oh, we were friends. Oh,
yeah.
We decided to, like, let's make a band, like all youngsters,
¿Cómo se llamaba el grupo?
It was a church band. So,
a church?
Yeah. So it was and I remember when we went, some guys were like, yeah, we're going to teach y'all. But when we got there, man, they ignored us, and we were just sitting there like dummies. I was like, nah, this is not going to work. So we started, like, putting things together ourselves.
Wow. It was at the local church that you guys were attending? or you
No,
guys?
it was some other guys that played at a different church. They were like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna help y'all out,"
Okay.
and I was like, "Oh, bummer." So
Ah.
we just started learning our own selves. I would spend, at that time, I would go, as soon as I got out of school, and mind you, I used to live over there by Pasadena.
Oh,
So
okay.
I would take the bus all the way to go to Southwest. So I would take two buses to get there so we can practice. And we would practice all the way to 10, 11. And sometimes I stay at my friend's house because it was too late for me to go home. So, and that's how every day was every day. But, we got to the point that we learned. So, and so since my friend couldn't sing and play, they passed me to the bass guitar. So, I started playing bass guitar. So, I've been playing bass guitar for a long, long, long time. It's not my passion instrument. I play it because I have to.
Oh, which one's your
So,
passion?
the guitar, the
The
guitar has
guitar.
always been,
Oh.
and then since I already knew how to play drums, because I took drums in high school, I kind of like knew already. So I taught somebody to play drums, and that's how we created our band. But it been fun, man. We travel, we're in several states. It was nice.
Oh, y'all did the whole thing. Y'all toured and
Yeah,
everything.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
And what was I gonna ask? I had a question. Pero all of this was happening in high school or outside of high school?
Right. Yeah, in my high school, my senior year, because in my senior year I already had a lot of classes, so I had, I think, I had my, I would get out early dismissal.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So early dismissal, the bus.
What high school? What high
I
school?
went to Austin High School.
Austin High
Yeah,
School. Oh, we played. I was in the soccer team, I think. Nah, no
yeah,
está bueno.
and then I went to Milby.
Hey, but so you were raised in Houston the whole time,
Yes,
and you developed a love for music. How come that you didn't pursue it then, like as a whole blown career? Why is that?
because when I was in high school, I
Don't get in trouble now.
get in trouble.
I mean, high school eso ya pasó. So I mean, you're
Yeah.
free to say, hey, estaba tocando para impresionar acá a las muchachas, this and
No,
that.
hey, I think everybody that does things in high school is to impress the girls.
Yeah.
Luckily, I think my group of friends, we were kind of like the famous guys from high school. We were
The
like
cool
the cool
kids.
kids. So, and for me, I think it was a good thing because those guys didn't smoke, didn't drink,
Oh,
so
okay.
no drugs. So
Y'all
for
were
me-
cool without the bad
yes,
things.
without bad things.
Uh,
And I remember, when I grew up, it was either you were a cholo or you were a preppy,
Mhm.
So those gangs were the ones. And we're like, no, we don't want to belong to none. So, it was kind of like we were on our own per se, but, it was fun, So when I got out of high school, because through high school, I went through a lot of things, with the girls.
Heartbroken and all that stuff.
No.
El mil amores.
Mil amores. But I thought I was ready for something serious, because I was like, I went through all that already. So,
Oh.
I'm like, I think I'm ready to be serious.
Wow.
And I got married at the age of 19.
Oh,
yeah.
chingado.
I know. So then,
Yeah.
I'm not going to say it was a mistake because it's I did have several things that, that I wouldn't change them in the world. Like, my eldest son, I wouldn't change anything,
Mhm.
the world for it. Sometimes you're like, oh, I made a mistake in getting married. No, because sometimes
Mhm.
there are other things that come through that, right? And if you wouldn't made that mistake, those things wouldn't happen. So, nothing is a mistake.
Yo también a los 19. Yo también a los 19 me casé.
Ay, Steve. Pues así es, sometimes you do things that you think, they're right.
Yeah,
but-
sometimes. Lo bueno es de que, when you're in high school, so a lot of kids, they experience life a lot.
Yeah.
So sometimes they take things serious right after high school. So
Yeah.
in a good, it's good. It's also bad because, you're still a kid at 19.
Yeah.
And you get married, te juntas or whatever, and you have kids sometimes. And life goes on 3x.
Yeah.
Now you're a speed what's it called, like speed playing a game. speed running a game,
Yeah.
but now you're speed running life. So you have to get, money here, money there, porque now you're trying to survive and this and that, and so.
Especially if I have a kid.
Oh. So su primer hijo, ¿qué años los tuvo?
I think I had him. I was 20.
Oh, so 1 year.
Right. As soon as I got married, boom.
Wow, no perdió tiempo.
No, actually, I thought I was ready for, to be the adult.
Oh, wow.
In my head, I was like ready to be an adult. So, I went for it. And, I remember that I used to work at grocery supply. It was a factory. And then, I always like to be the top. I don't know. I don't like to be at the bottom. It's very hard for me.
Exactly. Me too.
So, I went to work there and they were training me. The guy was training me. And then, I picked it up quick. And then they started bringing more people. And so he was training. And then they put me as a trainer too. So I was like, oh, wow. I loved it. So then I was training. Then a position came. And I know my friend, that taught me how to, taught me how to drive and all that stuff with the pallet jack and all that stuff. He wanted that position. So, and I didn't think I was ready for it. So when they offered it to me, I told my manager, I said, man, let him have it. And let me get, his position. So then they said yes. And they kind of look at me like I was weird or something. But, I felt that I wasn't ready because, that, and then that was, you had to come in real early in the morning. And I was like, nah, I don't want to do that. So, but it was fun. But I remember I used to work, all day, because I work the first shift, second shift, and sometimes the third shift, And so I would get home, everybody was sleeping. I would leave before everybody woke up. And then on Sunday, I was passed out all day, recovering from, all the.
So you were overworking yourself.
Yeah,
también.
I was making like 30 hours overtime a week.
Wow. Antes cuando pagaban overtime,
Yeah.
ahorita ya nadie quiere
Ahora
pagar.
nadie quiere pagar overtime. But it was good, And I felt like what drive me was like, I got to give my kid the best that I can. When he was a baby, he had nothing but, the Jordan brand had barely came out. So he had nothing but Jordan jumpers and all that stuff, because I was like, that's what I work for, So, and then my brother also started working there. And then same thing. Me and my brother would fight who's going to get the first one to get the shoes and the stuff. So my kid always had everything. So, and I think sometimes, like I said, going back as a parent, we try to give our kids too much because we feel like since we have it, we feel like, okay, here you go. But I think they don't appreciate it as much as, them earning it. And I think that's what, we can give them whatever, but we got to make them earn it, because that's how survival works. You earn things and you want more, but if you get in them, you're like, that you see them sitting there on the sofas playing video games all day because they feel that they don't have to, like I started working at 16 years old, out of regular job. But before that, I used to go help my dad on weekends. So, sometimes it's like they just stay there playing, 21 years old and still at the house playing video games, and I'm like, well, parents are like, I don't know what to do. I'm like, sácalo a trabajar,
Yeah.
But
back then, uno quería trabajar también, like early.
Because you wanted stuff.
Yeah. Kevin, can you do me a favor? Lower the fan speed to 1, please. Acá se está congelando Don Edwin, yo también. Pero...
I'm just nervous.
Sí, ya casi tenemos 3 horas aquí platicando. No, pero, ¿qué le voy a decir? I wanted to work bad también. When I was in high school, my parents were super strict though. We grew up, relatively, good, but poor, poor, pero tenemos comida, tenemos todo. Yo quería trabajar. All my friends had Jordans. They had their best clothes on, sus chains, a veces sus esas cosas, no sé cómo se llaman. Ya ve que ni...
Los brazaletes.
Sí, pero the gold stuff, ¿cómo se llama? Todas esas cosas. And I was like, man, and also they were very knowledgeable on a lot of things, because they were working, they were experiencing life a little bit more. They knew the name of cars, they knew the name of shoes. Y yo era bien tonto para todo eso because I wasn't experiencing life. I was just in school,
Yeah.
school. And so I was jealous of that. And I probably had a different childhood than a lot of kids from back in the day. Pero what I remember the most was me fighting with my parents because I wanted to work really, really bad. Y no me dejaron trabajar. Hasta los 18 que me gradué, right away agarré un job at a warehouse también. Y luego pasaron unos añitos y me acordé cómo era antes, and I was regretting, like, man, why was that rushing? What was that's something that a lot of people don't realize, that we want to grow up
So fast.
so fast, and then when we get older, we want things to slow
Slow
down.
Nah, that's the way it works. I mean, that's the way it is. Like, we sit with all our models and we tell them, hey, take your time, value yourself, because if you don't value yourself, nobody else will, have your priorities, set your priorities straight. That way, you'll be able to have something. I tell all models, look, the day that you have a nice job, that you can pay your own rent, pay your own car, take yourself out to a nice dinner or a nice club or whatever, I said, then you're ready to either get married or find somebody, that's definitely gonna take care of you, because he's gonna love you for you, not because you're with somebody because your mom died of the house and you don't have enough for the rent. So sometimes you're like, hey, let's get married together and let's work and we can do it, we can make it happen. No, you don't do that. We did that, and I think that was a mistake because if you notice, there are a lot of people in our generation, they get divorced, or some people are living together and they say, oh yeah, we're living together for 35 years, but sometimes they're just living together because it's easier just to stay together. And then some people, they're like, oh, we're together for the kids, and when the kids move
Yeah.
out, you see all these divorces. Why? People ask why there's so many divorces. That's why, because we got married too young.
Wow. So you got divorced
Yes,
from the your first wife.
from my first
How
wife.
many years after? Like,
I
like
don't remember how many years. I want to say six
oh, so
years afterwards. Yeah.
y'all lasted like a good 6 years.
No. We lasted 5 years, right? And then I moved out. I'm like, man, I'm done. Um, because we normally,
You guys were still kids, by the way, right?
yeah, because I always been a basketball fan. I always play basketball. I play basketball all over Houston with a lot of different guys. And I remember that my friends would call back in the days because you had one of those songs, hola.
The big blocks or
Yeah.
something? Oh, the beeper?
No, the phone, the regular house
Oh,
phone.
the landline.
The landline.
Yeah.
So they would call the house and they say, hey, can you tell Edwin we're going to be at such and such park? And then I'll get home and she would be mad. I'm like, what you mad? Oh, because your friends called. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, I'm not going to go, just so she wouldn't be mad. And she still was mad. So I was like, man, she's mad if I stay. She's mad if I go. I'm going.
Yeah. I mean, you have to, stay in shape. You have to take care of yourself. You have to have your own hobbies.
Yeah.
Kids, I call a lot of people kids, they're like younger than me, but a lot of people they want to act really grown when they're like, 19, 20, 21, 22, when they should be, just free. They should
Free.
just free, enjoy life, learn about this, learn about that, have hobbies. Don't act like,
Yeah.
you have to have things figured out. And that's that's a good segue to something that you were talking about, how I just made the connection right now when you were talking about the models, how you give them advice about this and that. So like at the end of the day, you guys at Belle Couture, you guys are also like you guys are role models to these models. Y'all are helping them. I mean, like, y'all are guiding them at least
Yeah.
with a lot of things in life. And you know like Belle Couture, obviously you guys model, you have photo shoots and stuff like that, but the girls are growing with you guys as well.
Yes. So, a lot of them come in and you know, we try to build like a relationship. Obviously, you know, how families are. Sometimes, your kids get mad and they leave the house or whatever. We have some of that stuff going on, but the ones that stay there, we kind of like try to guide them. Hey, this might work, this might not work, or try this or try that, and then we let them know stuff that we have gone through as well, because we like to be plain open, to them, and to things that, real life, because sometimes they get attached, we all get attached, and either they come and they start saying, oh, well, this is what's going on, and but they're young, so we're like, relax, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
You'll find somebody else, or hey, don't worry about this, try that, or do this or do that. So we try to train them not just to model, just to walk in or dress, but we also do a lot of other things with them, and that's what we try, to build
character, build
character, so they can kind of like, be able to
handle themselves
in life. I have a lot of places that we have done, video shoots, and everybody always tells me, man, we love you girls. They're very respectful. I'll have you anytime you want to come in. Doors are open and stuff. And that's something that we do tell them. I say, hey, these people said this about y'all. So, keep on doing what you're doing, and you notice, I think you notice that a lot of my girls, when they go in for content day or whatever, they always, the first thing they do is say hi to everybody, because that's one of the things that we try to implement. Say, hey, man, even though you might not know them, but, go over there and say hi, because you have to, it's easier to work, because I know.
You're also building a network.
Yeah, and building a network, because sometimes, you might have a person, like you do a lot of video shoots, if that person is not very confident or relaxed with you, it's very difficult to break them, and you feel like it's harder to work, versus you having a girl that it's, giddy, and hey, okay,
she's loose, and
and then okay, ponte si, ponte, okay, so you get all your stuff done, and that's why we try to do with all of them, obviously, like I said, they grow, and they got to go on the way. Like, we have our first models that we had for a long time, they're seniors, some of them already seniors, and then some of them are like going to be seniors, and they some of them have jobs and, other stuff, and some started dating. So, now their time is more like investing in something else. So now that's why we have a new wave of models that came in. But, it's going to happen. We just, learning as well as we go, because, we never have models, I've been in construction. I know my hammers.
You guys were modeling with hammers and on the rooftops.
But sometimes you're like, you got to be more calm. They're girls. And I was like,
did Marilu ever do modeling? Like, was she a model or something?
No, she always loved hair and makeup.
Oh, okay. So she just worked with models all the time.
So.
And something that I really like about Belle Couture is that y'all are, ever since I met y'all, I can't exactly, when was the last time? The very first time that I met y'all. Do you remember? Because I can't really put my finger on it. Like, I can't remember the first time we met. Because it just feels like I've been knowing you guys forever.
It's like, I'm trying to remember. I think it was at a content day for the Fotomundo people, I think.
Yeah,
I think that's where we met you.
I think so. We have to go back, because our Instagram is probably the best way to
check.
They check, yeah. And something I like about all the models on Belle Couture is that they're very respectful, very professional. Everyone's always, really they're ready to work. They know what they have to do of it. When it's content day, and they're so easy to work with. Aparte de eso, like drama, like you guys don't create a lot of drama. I like that. It's good to not
try.
It's good not to have drama, pero a veces viene.
Yeah.
A veces viene drama, like a veces va a haber gente que dice algo de ti o que, no sé,
Yeah.
Juana o Mangana dice esto y, pero obviously, like, what's something that, you guys have gone through, like, okay, you rather keep, like low, pero, it might happen to others, like, what's something que a usted les ha pasado, si puede, si puede decir algo, Porque I
Uh,
know there's been drama. I just don't like bring it up because what if I don't have the right information, things like
yeah.
that. But and obviously, we're working with underage models
Yeah.
también, so we don't want to create, none of that unnecessary drama. But obviously, with the bill, with the modeling and stuff, there's been some type of drama where like someone tells you, hey, this looks like this, and that kind of looks like mine, and
Oh,
with the dresses.
it's like with with the dresses. I remember with the dress when we started the dresses. I'm always the guy that like to do my research, check everything. I know exactly what I can do when I cannot do. Now, I noticed that a lot of you know the other companies are suing each other for for this for that, but I know exactly where I have to be in order to do that thing. If you notice, los chinitos they do the Gucci bags, the Louis Vuitton bags, but they never advertise it as Louis Vuitton or Gucci bag, right?
You're talking about the counterfeits.
Yeah, the
Okay.
counterfeits. So what they say is designer, and then they're cool. It's okay because they didn't say Louis Vuitton bag. Because that once you do that, you get in trouble, just like Vogue.
Oh yeah, we got. If you guys didn't know, we got a cease and desist
Yeah.
Monday.
So those things are you have to know exactly like where you have to be, what you can, you
Your
can't
limits.
say, your limits, and work within your limits. But
And so you're saying that people are gonna overstep a little bit on someone's
everybody got to try and push the envelope. Everybody's
yeah
trying to push
on
it.
a design, on a look, because the other day, I mean, I was going through Instagram. I was just doing research. I have no intention of opening no dress shop or anything like that. Yeah, it's too much work. I'll leave it on over here to Don Edwin, pero and everyone else that's doing a great job. Pero I just looked at dresses, and then me sale Argentina, me sale Chile, me
Oh, yeah.
sale the no, not UK. Pero me sale
Brazil.
Brazil, todo Latinoamérica. We're probably talking about like over 1,000 companies, popular dress shops out there,
Yeah.
and everyone's kind of doing similar stuff. Because I
Similar
was
stuff.
like, I think I've seen Don Edwin's dress over here in Brazil. Who's copying who?
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell Don Edwin, and like obviously some people have done things
Yeah.
in the past, and obviously this dress thing is not new, right? Like I know dresses have become a lot more luxurious. They're bigger. They have more diamonds. They have more brillo. They have a lot more things going on. Pero everyone has kind of done the same thing little by little. It's very hard to really completely change something and have something original these days.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you say?
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. I think it's pretty much. Let's say if I do a fuchsia dress, right? Somebody else gonna come out with a fuchsia dress that is almost similar. Let's say I might have sleeve on the right, they're probably gonna put a sleeve on the left. Once they put a sleeve on the left, I can't say it's my dress because they put it on the left.
Yeah.
So I'm like okay, or le pusieron dos. So it's
So se
kinda-
pelean
people
for sleeves.
Yeah,
or...
people's like, oh, that's my dress. I'm like, so. We notice people be crying, complaining about this in my dress, that yada yada yada, or So, but you can't be complaining about a dress because it's the tela. You can't change it.
Yeah. Everyone uses
You have to come up with a different color that nobody's seen, so you can say, "Oh, that is mine."
or I was the first or something.
I was the first, but like I said, when we started, that's one of the things that I told because I told my wife, you know what, I don't want to be too much worried about this or that que se nos copiaron, no. And, obviously, we started doing a lot of things differently. Pasarelas, they're not that boring. Walk over there, come back. For me, that's boring. For me, I'm not gonna say that that's not good because it has, people just want to walk it, look at the dress, and come back. For me, that's boring. And I put my girls to do a choreo or whatever, which he also has his issues because my dresses get beaten up because they're moving around and getting caught here, getting caught there. So my dresses get beat up versus a dress that is just on the walkway, walkway or back, nothing to it. So, but I wanted to do something different. I wanted young ladies to see how they look dancing, moving around, because that's what they're going to be doing all around. So that's what we started doing. And then we started seeing people doing things that we're doing. I kind of got upset a little bit, because I'm like, heck, they're copying. But then I was like, well, that's what and I remember that's what I wanted, I was like, if they're not copying me, I mean, I'm not doing nothing, So now I'm like, I want people to copy me, and I like it. And when I see it, I'm like, okay, that's cool, So that means I have to step my game up, to see what I'm gonna come up with next. And we got a lot of crazy ideas, I remember we did a video when we had a dread dress. We call it the sun goddess, and then we did a ring of fire.
An actual ring of fire?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And then she was dancing in the middle with with a guy, and then at the moment we're like, yeah, that's cool. And then some other people were like, that's crazy. What about if the dress would have caught fire? I was like, oh yeah. But you're thinking, creating and doing different things.
Oh, so you thought about it after, like, oh, yeah.
Afterwards, I was like, yeah, you're right.
Let's not do that again. But
yeah, so now what we do, we sit down and we're like, okay, what is it that we're gonna do? This, and that. Okay, what do we need? What if this goes wrong? What do we need? So we try to prepare as much as we can for our videos. We got a couple of videos that's gonna come out. Y'all need to stay tuned and
content on Instagram.
Yes.
Okay.
It's something that we've been working on for a long time. We just haven't done it because we've been real busy. Like now we've been really busy, but we have everything ready. We've been ready for a while, so we already have a setup date. We're gonna start recording, and I remember in the beginning we were just doing all these videos, content. We did a partial telenovela.
Oh.
We did La Gaviota.
Oh, sí.
So we just did a lot of crazy things, and then I told my wife. She's like, oh, yeah, es que necesitamos hacer otro. I'm like, yo, we need to stop. I said, I don't see no money coming in. We're doing too much videos and stuff like that. That's money going out.
Oh, yeah, because these videos don't make money.
Yeah, those videos don't make money. Yeah. So, you're just trying to show your dress. So I sat for a little while and I said, man, you know what? We're not content creators. We're here to sell dresses. And that's not bringing no money, we're doing content. But then TikTok started blowing up and we started getting a lot of clients. So like our 65%, I think, is from our out of state. So, we do a lot of, that's why we don't post so much, our client here, client, because the majority are from out of state. So, because they see it in TikTok.
But you should say like, hey guys, this client, I don't think I might be following or might not be following you guys on my personal page.
I think you're not following us.
I don't think I'm following because no me ha salido. But I'm gonna follow. How can I follow you guys? ¿Cómo se llama? Belle Couture.
Couture.Houston.
Houston on TikTok. I haven't come across todavía the videos, but do you guys do videos where like you guys are like, hey, this person's from New York? And
no, we haven't done none of that.
You have to. That's people want to know how is the exclusive and how popular your dresses are. I would too. I had a few booths that the magazine booths, celebrity booths that I sold, and I never made videos, and they were like from out of state too, or one like was 12 hours away, and then another one was out of state. And that's one thing about me too. That I've kind of become a leader in the industry just on Instagram, right? Not money wise. I'm not rich, guys. Pero we've garnered a lot of attention, and a lot of people go bar for bar, like they're doing the same thing. And honestly, this was not my original idea. I got inspired by someone that was doing it across the map in Europe, and I was like, man, I really want to do this for my wedding. And then things blew up after that, because obviously I know how to make videos, how to work with people, and blow things up a little bit. And it blew up, and then everyone's doing it, but I'm not saying like, hey, I'm not sending messages like, hey, you guys are copying me or whatever. That's one thing about me. I think I've from the get go, I've been able to like tell myself like, hey, this is not original. Once you start making something original, trademark it or something, so you can really say it's yours. Copyright something. Entonces ahí sí te creo que eso es tuyo. Pero if no one has nothing, entonces ahí está. You know.
It's very difficult, with that. I think you have to get your mind right and, just go to work. Go to work. I think if you're paying attention to, what the other guy that's doing the same thing is doing, I'm not going to say competition because it shouldn't be no competition. But, if you start paying attention to what the person's doing, what same thing you're doing, it's like you're focusing too much on them, and sometimes you lose. Right now, as it is, we don't have time. There's a lot of things that I know that I haven't done, that you haven't done, that we need to do for, that we have plans. Oh, yeah, we need to do this. We need to post this. And we don't do it because we don't have time, editing wise, it takes a lot. So, and then if you're focusing, then you're taking away time from the other stuff that you need to do. So, right now I'm like, people come, oh, did you see what that? I'm like, oh no, I didn't see, I didn't pay attention. I said, oh, okay, cool. Because I don't want to even be worried about that anymore. I know lately a lot of our girls, people was like, te la quitaron. And I'm like, no, nadie te va a quitar a nadie,
O las manos se han ido.
Yeah, unas manos se han ido. Entonces people are telling, oh, ¿por qué te la quitaron? Oh, what happened? I'm like, nadie te quita a nadie. Right? They leave because they want to leave, and hey, if they listen to the other person telling them, hey, you're going to be better over here, and then, she feels you're going to be better over there, well, yeah, you got to go. I mean, because you don't want to have somebody that is not happy being at your place, and that's where you, like with us, and especially Marilu, she gets attached to the girls too much, and I told her, hey, you need to, like, not be too attached, because they got to do something else or they want to do something else. And so and sometimes you're over there crying at night, and I'm like, okay, just relax, calm down, I gotta start think how I'm gonna fix it, you know. So,
and sorry to interrupt, but I mean, at the end of the day, their own persona, right? They're doing what's best for themselves, and sometimes they're doing things, they're making decisions based on what they think is best for them. So obviously, that attachment is gonna get in between a little bit, and you're gonna either react to it, pero at the end of the day, you're growing, you're helping these girls become a better version of themselves at the end of the day. So it doesn't matter if they go here or whatever, or que se queden, if they think that this is their best.
But now, I mean, since I always like to be straightforward with everybody, and but there's some people that are shady.
Really?
Yeah, there's some other companies that are shady that they don't want to invest in training, and obviously, what you're gonna do.
¿Cómo explica? ¿Cómo que?
So, let's say like a model, right? We train models and all. Then there's gonna be a company that's gonna start telling them, hey, well, come over here. I take care of you. Or I'll pay you this. I'll pay you that. Or I'll pay you more. Or come and dance for me. I'll pay you more money. Da, 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 da. And then obviously they say the youngsters, they want more, so they're gonna leave, right? So that's why I'm saying, why do that? Just if you're a choreographer, you train your own guys, right? If you're a model director, You train your girls. If you're whatever it is that you're doing, you do it, right? Don't take somebody else's people.
I
You know,
see what
that's
you're
what I see.
saying. I see what you're saying. So there's some people out there a veces que they don't want to go through all the teaching them how to
Yeah,
model and
because they might not have anybody to do it. You know.
yeah. And you guys obviously have Camila, which has
Yes.
been a great part of your business too. She is the model director,
Yes.
and she's also doing makeup,
Yes.
hair,
The content, no makeup and or content creator.
content creator, and makeup. Oh yeah, obviously shout out to Camila. I've worked with Camila before in content days, where we go to Fotomundo's venues, este, and or other people's venues, I think, and we've worked together and make videos. She's on top of things. She's always has a speaker.
No
She's a
digas eso porque luego me la van a querer quitar.
yeah, yeah,
No,
yeah.
no, no.
Valios. Nah, pues, but I feel like I've always seen Camila around,
Yeah.
and she's like basically family to you
Yeah,
guys.
she is.
How long has she been working with you guys?
She started with Marilu when she was 15,
Wow.
and then
How old is she now?
she's I don't know 20 something,
Oh,
21 I think, maybe 20
Wow.
or 20. I don't know.
that's a
Somewhere around
long
there.
time. And
Yeah. So Marilu took her in, and Camila started drying hair, blow drying hair. We just started, and then Marilu started teaching her how to do makeup. Now she's a baddie. She's a baddie, and I think maybe that's why our company has grown a lot, and it's where it's at because the people that we have, like I said, I can't say enough about Camila. She's if she wasn't there, we'd probably be at a different, position. We still would, going through the same role, but maybe a little slower. But Camila is a person that a lot of other places they're like, oh, can she work for us? Or she's always been loyal to Marilu, and she's like, oh, this person wants me to go work for them. They offer me a job, and we're like, okay, well, I mean, that's on you now because it's a job, and you have to do a job. But she's like, no, I don't want to leave. I'm happy here. So we're kind of like, we try to treat her well, and so she became part of, like, now she's part of a family. We always like looking out for her and everything if she needs anything or this and that. But she's an awesome girl. I mean, I think we're truly blessed to have her on our team. She comes out with a lot of the choreos for the open houses. She's the one that does it. So she's always working with the girls, prepping the girls. Probably people not gonna say that. Some of these girls not gonna say that, but Camila has trained a lot of the girls that have become, queens, either Modelo Latina and, for my Supreme Teen, Camila has been behind that,
oh wow.
and they have one, I'm not going to name no names because, you know how that goes. But, whether they want to accept it or not, Camila had something to do in there, winning, so Camila's always been a cool girl, and girls get attached to her as well. And then, that's why where we at with her.
And
We love her.
at the beginning, I thought she was like y'all's daughter or something. I was like, esta girl está en todos lados con
Ah,
ustedes.
prietita igual a mí.
Sí, también. She's really cool. I love Camila's work ethic. She's really, really good. And obviously she started very young with y'all, and y'all nourished her. And that's what I'm talking about. A lot of people, a lot of women, a lot of models, a lot of these young models are making decisions that are gonna benefit them. And Camila saw a career with you guys, and now she committed. She was loyal to you guys, and now she's where she's at right now.
Yeah.
She's
And one of the things I guess when you have a business is you got to learn how to delegate. You can't do everything yourself. Because we could have just say, oh yeah, Marilu or I are gonna be the coaches. We're gonna be the one, training the girls or whatever. So I remember when we talked to her, I'm like, we want you to do this, and she's like, are y'all sure? I'm like, yeah, we want you to do it because we gave her the green light to do it however she felt she had to do it. And that's what you got to do sometimes. You got to trust your people, because your people might be there working for you, but sometimes you got to give them a little extra and then they feel like, oh yeah, I think I can do this and I can do it this
You're
way,
giving them
and
confidence.
then and the confidence, and then they work, they do more, and so that's what we try to do with with our employees, trying to give them a little more confidence. Hey, you in charge of this, you're in charge of that, and then some things work, some things don't work. So you just keep on trying.
You also saw her potential a long time ago.
Yes.
Like you saw how good she was, how fast of a learner she was, and obviously she loved what she liked doing, and that's what you guys were doing too. So you
Yeah.
eventually brought her in, and so I mean, I guess the question now is where do you guys take this business? What's the goal? Like where do you guys see yourself like in 5 years from now? Are you guys, I don't know, have you guys touring maybe like from country to country or something? Are you gonna fly? Are you guys gonna compete in different markets of Latino America, or do you want to go back to Salvador and maybe introduce them to more of American dresses or
Well,
something,
there's
or Mexican made dresses?
yeah, there's some stuff, some plans going on over there in Salvador. Uh, Marilu was over there, I think, 2 months ago, and we were gonna try to do it there, but we kind of like put a pause on it because I was like, let's just wait, because I'd rather have the things done right than just rush. And then we've been offered to go out and do open houses, other parts of the city, and of the state as well.
In Salvador.
No, here,
Oh, here. You,
Austin, we got a place that they want us to, that if we can do an open house. We have some place in San Antonio. We got a couple venues that would love to have us, because they hear our girls, what they do and how they do things, so they kind of want to experience that. And so we had this little thing that last year we were gonna do, and we had called it Belle Couture on tour.
oh, okay.
But
That rhymes.
yeah, we didn't get to do it yet.
Oh, okay.
But I think somebody else already touring, so we might not do it.
Oh no, I mean, you take your own advice on it.
No, I know,
Don't,
I'm playing.
yeah.
But no, we are going to tour though. I
Yeah.
just don't know when.
You
But
guys
we
gotta
are.
you guys gotta focus on yourselves. Do whatever you guys are gonna do, because you guys are gonna do it different.
Yeah.
Everyone, regardless of what you guys do, and if anyone else is doing it, you guys are gonna do it differently.
Yeah.
I see a lot of people is stopping their dream, or like putting pause on a lot of things because it's because that person's doing it. No,
Yeah.
like you're a whole different person.
Exactly.
First of all, and you're not doing it because, for example, a lot of people don't, they're not pushing the content because Steve's already doing it, or maybe I like I get messages here and there like, hey, you guys really inspired us to do content like this, or like I really like the way you guys take pictures, or your photo booth business. I like to hear that, because I know that I'm doing something right, and then
Yeah.
people are gonna, get inspired. And you're a leader now. There's a bunch of leaders, but you're one of the main ones here that I see a lot. I mean, in Houston, when it comes to the dress shops and modeling and the content, you guys are on top of it. You guys are pushing yourselves. I like
Yeah.
that. You guys. I don't really like working with people that don't post. Like if you're not posting, you're asking me to work with you. Like, at least show me that you guys are hungry, because
Yeah.
if I ask you to collaborate with me and you're not ready and you don't even know how this works or that, like you're wasting my time.
Yeah.
That's why I took a very long time to collaborate with people again, porque obviously I was working with the warehouse, the podcast, and I was like, man, pues let me take a little break, let me focus on all of this, because I do a lot of things at the same time, which is something good and it's bad, pero now that I'm coming back to collaborate with a lot of folks, I want to remind people like, hey, stay active on social media, Instagram, post videos, post consistently también, and post good quality videos too.
Yeah.
You can, people are gonna say you copy, or sometimes they're gonna say that that's their thing, pero you're doing things differently
Yeah.
regardless.
And you have to, you have to keep on doing things. Because at the end of the day, content creating, you know, I don't know who made it, but all of us are doing it. So that means all of us are copying, you know, the idea from somebody else, but you putting your own touch to it. You know what I mean? So me personally, what I tell everybody is like, man, you want to do something, go ahead and do it, because uh, you don't want to leave with the, oh, I should have done this. I'm always like, no, you want to do it. It might work, it might not work, but you try it. And if it works, fine. If it didn't work, hey, well, what's next?
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of people, yeah, you're right. They kind of don't want to do this because and then now posting is like you have to stay on it. And then I get you, when you want to collab with somebody and they're not posting, you kind of like for us, everybody, a lot of people's like, oh, you bring your models. Yeah, but bring my models is like, I got to get their hair, makeup done.
Oh yeah.
We got to pick a dress. And then, I feed them breakfast. I got to give them lunch. And if we're like way past late time, we have to give them dinner, and we have to, take them from the boutique to wherever we're going. So it's a lot. We do spend a lot on that. Versus, and then at the same time, like let's say we collab together, you also preparing yourself, getting all your videos, getting all your gear, recording, editing. I think the editing is the worst part because you got to spend time, to do things. And the equipment, it's not made to be hauling every day to be like, so
Especially cameras.
yeah. So, it's like we all put a lot in it, but with us, sometimes people think it's just, oh, traigan los modelos. No, it's not that easy. Especially if you're not posting, we do not want to take the models.
Yeah, because I mean, so many resources,
Yeah.
so much time, so much work is being put in, and then you're not even posting regularly. Like on top of that, there's a lot of people they want to get started, but that's just a thought that they're doing, that they have. I want to get started. I want to get started. Like if you want to collaborate with people, you have to like post and show them that you're posting a lot.
Same thing with open houses. A lot of times, a lot of people invite you to open houses. They want you to go, but you don't see them doing their part. So it's like
Marketing.
hard for you to, to
They're not doing marketing, right? Like some people,
they're not doing marketing. They just there's a venue that we went, and they started posting, oh, high class and Belle Couture is going to be here. And they thought that people just going to, pour in. And no, you have to do you
have to put in work.
You put your work in, and but they don't get it. I mean,
You told them straight up, like, hey, you guys need to either.
well, I told them that I could help them set it up and all this stuff, and so we can. But I ended up in the hospital, so I wasn't able to. But they didn't even post, they didn't even promote, so it was like, and then nobody showed up.
Dang.
Well, a couple of people, but
How many
normally
dresses?
what we're used to,
How many dresses and how many girls did you take that day?
2. I kind of knew it was not gonna show up, so I just sent 2 girls.
Also, you had recovered already, and
I was at the hospital. I said, hey, just send 2 girls.
Golly, wow. And so right now, you guys, do you have dates for the expos, the big expo? I know you're having the open house at Hacienda Bella Tierra. When is that? And when should?
August 10th. August 10th. People already calling. I think we're gonna have. So we're trying to give money away because I know a lot of times, a lot of these expos they offer a free party or whatever, but that's just a hook to Then they charge you for this, charge you for that. This is always not a free party. Like the ones that we have done, and shout out to JB La Hacienda because they did the free party, and the clients that won, they were happy. They say everything was well done. But I kind of saw that, and I told them, okay, send me exactly what is included and what are you giving. That way we can tell the client this is what's going to be given at the place. So the people went, they had it, and they were happy about it. So that's what we try to do.
How
And
much
then
how much are you guys giving away or
we
what?
gave that expo. We gave $2,000 away. The lady also got happy. She was
At
like, "Is it
JB?
real?" No. At expo we did last year. And then so the lady was happy that she got the money and the stuff. But this year, this open house, we're gonna give $1,000 giveaway.
Why is it like this? You calling it open house?
Because we don't. It's an open house, but we don't want to call it open house because everybody's getting tired of the open house. So this is something from my Fabulous Expo that we're trying to do.
Va a
Like
estar
I
bien
said,
arregladito todo.
sí, vamos a decorar todo. Every vendor. I mean, we have a lot of vendors that already, say they're going. There's some people calling that they want to go, and they're asking us how much are we charging. No, we're not charging because, like I always said, I want to focus on the vendors. Vendors that, that been loyal. At first, I remember the first expo we did. Man, I was stressed out, brother. There was like several nights I couldn't sleep. I couldn't sleep because a vendor told me, "Oh, how many people are going?" I was like, "I don't know. It's open. Oh, you're not taking count?" I said, "No, we just, it's an expo. People are just gonna come." "Oh, I can't go because that's not guaranteed how many people are gonna show up." That hit me hard because I was like, I started doubting myself. I was like, what about if people don't show? And I said, all these vendors that believe in us, I'm like, what am I going to do? So, I was stressed out, bro. I couldn't sleep. I would be all night in the dark sleeping because Marilu did not allow me to turn the TV on. But I would be like, oh my God. I was stressed out, but luckily, it was good.
And you're talking about the one that you had a Humble Civic Center?
No, the first one we did over there at in Southwest, I think it was.
Southwest?
Yeah, GSH, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was great, man. I didn't expect it to get packed. It was packed, full house. And,
wow.
Like all the vendors there, they were like, man, it was good. I sold. It was good. Everybody was, we got nothing but good positive. The only negative we got, parking.
Oh, wow.
Because we didn't prepare. Honestly, I didn't think we are going to pack. But the place offered me parking on the other side. But since, we were not even focused on that, I totally forgot. But, hey, it is what it is, So, it was good. It was good.
That's the cost of selling out.
Selling out, yeah. And so the second time we did at the Humble Civic Center, it got rained on.
Really?
It got rained on, but man, it was packed as well. We had different vendors that tried us this year, so it was good. It was good. Everybody did good. I loved it. It's like there were other dress companies there that I'm kind of like. There was one company there that I liked the way they were doing their thing and all this stuff. So,
So you don't, and that's the thing about you, that you guys don't even care that other dresses are going there, other dress shops. You guys are giving, everyone an opportunity to.
You have to because, it's not Belle Couture Expo. Is my Fabulous.
Oh.
So, as a expo, you have to let it, everybody come in.
Yeah.
Right? You cannot say, oh, no, you cannot come because you're my competition. You cannot come. And no. So, we let them come, whoever want to come. Even, with Johnny is from high class. So he lets, not that he lets. This is something that we have talked from the beginning. We let other people, dancers come in. We have a company that they didn't want to come in because they were like, it's because high class is going to be there and they're really good. And I was like, don't. Put yourself in that position because at the end of the day, yes, they've been in the business for a while and you're starting, so you can't, they came through the expo and it was good for them, So,
wow.
Some of these people, it's I love it because they ask me, oh, what do you think? Should I do it? And I was like, man, show up over there, man. Do what you need to do. And it's been good for them, I seen their posts and stuff, and I'm like, man, I like that, that they're growing. So me personally, I really don't care who comes. Dress company, we have a little issue with another company that, I'm like, man, if they decide to come, let them come, no biggie. I don't want to focus too much in those problems. I'm just trying to focus on, I got to do what I got to do to sell.
Have you ever been told no? You can't come because you're this and that. You're my
Yes.
competitor.
So the expos, they've been telling us that we can't go. So they for the past years they have kept us out.
All the expos.
Yeah. One, because they're friends with this other dress company, so
Wow.
they're like, no, I can't let you in. Then the other ones are like, no, because you're with such and such. And then once we did our own expo, they're like, no, you're our competition, you can't come. So we're like,
Wow.
okay, fine. So it is what it is. Sometimes people gonna see it that way, but you know what? At the end of the day, what is funny to me is like, yeah, we're not allowed, but we're there. Because, you go, you walk around the expo, you see all the people that have screens, you're going to see my models over there. You're going to see our dresses. So, I remember that at expo, they didn't let us in for us to go with our dresses, but they let us in as,
Guest.
I guess.
Basically.
So we went and I was seeing our models here with this photographer. I was seeing our models over there with that venue, with that other venue, with other, different people. And I was like, we're all over the place. So, I'm like, yes.
You guys infiltrated without having to, because como quiera, you guys are well known for your modeling and your dresses, and obviously the girls are extremely talented, so everyone wants to work with you guys.
Yeah, and then that's one of the things that I told Marilu. I said, man, I want to be everywhere. And then she's like, no, we can't. We can't. How are we going to be everywhere? I'm like, somehow. So we started thinking. And I remember when I went to that expo, I was like, that's there. That's it. There we go. I'm everywhere.
You're planting a seed sin querer queriendo.
And then she was like, es que no, sometimes people call us, hey, come, let's do some content. And she's like, oh, no. I got to do hair and makeup. But I'm like, but we're going to be somewhere, so it all pays out at the end, so you just got to continue, keep on doing things. And, it's going to work out, man. It's going to work out.
Wow. Well, Kevin, what's the time? What do we have? We have 1:30. Okay. I mean, I feel like this was a really good podcast episode.
Yes.
This is podcast number 2 con Don Edwin. I call him Don Edwin. I know le gusta que le diga Don because he's still 25 years old.
Yeah.
Pero I'm really glad you accepted to come over. I know you were one of the first people I asked to, because I mean, I really I really admire you. I really admire your work, and I really like your work ethic. Just like you said earlier, like, oh, I don't like being at the bottom, or that's me exactly. Like every job, and you're probably episode number 1 just came out, and if you watch it, you're gonna hear a lot of those little things that I talk about. Because every company that I worked in, I always wanted to go up there, sell, or I wanted to, just be on salary, or like, hey, push me to like 60,000 or 55 or whatever, still working, or I'm talking to the owners, and I'm like, yo bien llevado, like, hey, so what can I do to, like, go out there, get in the back end and start working in the office or whatever. Así andaba, and that's what I see in you, and I really like to, be surrounded by people that I work, that have a really good work ethic like you do, Don Edwin. And I really appreciate your friendship too. You could obviously be somewhere else. Maybe you could be in El Salvador, allá tomando, o en Matamoros, o en Monterrey tomando una margarita, pero aquí anda. Pues aquí anda. Y any last thought, any last message for the people, or you want to plug in your expos, anything?
I think one thing that I guess I would want to say to everybody is like, man, you're interested in doing something, check your numbers, and if it's something that is, that is going to work out, go for it, man. Go for it, and go for it, because, you never know what's going to happen. Sometimes things might look, a little crazy, but, once it gets settled, when all the smoke settles, you'll see the return, so work on it, and be good to other people, help out other vendors, because, at the end, they might blow up, and then, they're going to bring you along with them. So, it's not always about you, but, it's kind of like in this industry, you're gonna end up working with. You might say, "Oh, I don't want to work with them," but in the end, you're gonna keep on meeting, and then you're gonna have to work with them. So it's like, man, welcome anything that comes along, and just give it your best and go for it. That's what I say. And then don't forget, August 10th, we're gonna have Summer Vibes, Hacienda Bellaterra. There's gonna be $1,000 that we're gonna give away. We have a lot of good vendors. We're gonna have food. We're gonna have Maruchan card. Come and check out all those vendors that we have. We're trying to give them opportunity for them to shine, to see what they got going on, and hopefully we'll see you also at the expo. We don't give a date yet, but we're almost there. We're almost there, and we'll let you know as soon as it comes. My fabulous.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. And this was Puro Cotorreo. Hopefully, I can get the intro soon, and I can, I don't know, surprise you guys. But thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you on the next one.